now we're at a point where we're so dialed in where if there's a mysterious charge that comes up, we're both like, hey, what's that Amazon thing? Because we didn't talk about it, because we understand that every dollar that's not accounted for is a dollar that is not being put towards our financial goals.
Whenever we get paid, we put 20% of everything that we earn goes into a savings account. It doesn't even hit our checking accounts. It goes straight to savings account.
You pay yourself first. So again, look at your income. Now figure out what 10% of that is. Figure out what 20% of that is. Maybe you can afford to pay yourself more. And these stipulations are up to you. But at the bare minimum, you should be paying yourself at least.
Now, this is huge, ladies and gentlemen, because you would be paying this 15% on your credit card. But all you did was redirect the money that you were paying from a credit card, for example, to your banking system.
And we got involved with the world of infinite banking to really finance our own deals. So we got licensed with the objective of, hey, this is going to help us with our real estate business. This is going to help us level up, because now instead of sourcing funds from other people, we can source the money for ourselves and make more of the money, since we don't have to split it with so many people.
What we want to do is make sure that you understand exactly what the keys are to financial independence. And it's not exactly what you think. You know, actually these secrets aren't really secrets. They are so obvious that, you know...
It's not obvious?
It's so obvious that I don't think we take it into consideration how important it is.
True.
So it's kind of hidden in plain sight type thing.
Yeah, so let's get into the video. The very first secret that we're going to share with you is mindset. We talked about mindset a lot on this channel, and we really feel like that's really what separates us between other financial educators, is we're so focused on mindset, because we understand if your mind ain't right, your money ain't gonna be right.
Right, because you can earn $1 million and spend it all and, you know, have no more in your savings than someone that earns $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that we understand the mindset that it takes, you know, when we do make the kind of money that we want to make.
Absolutely. So let's talk about a little story, shall we? So I want to test you to see if you remember what our accountant said. So we're reflecting as we're sharing this story with you, right? So going back to mindset, I don't know why as consumers we're just so ready to spend money. Well, we know why, because marketing and advertisements.
And that thing's deep rooted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It takes a minute to get out of that. And we still even fall into that. That's why Darius and I have to hold each other accountable. More so Darius holding me accountable, let's be honest, to not spend money. So let's go into this story, right? So Darius and I recently have been car shopping. And so we had a certain budget in mind, and we ran the numbers by our accountant, and he said everything looks good, great. And to make sure that we're on the same page, anytime we make a large purchase, we make sure to contact our accountant first, because we want to make sure everything jives, taxes, and that we're all on one accord, because we're a team. So with that said, the accountant said, hey, Carmen and Darius, yeah, this is great. You have the money, you know, XYZ. Do you remember what he said?
He said, no, don't buy a depreciating asset unless you can afford to.
Don't buy a depreciating asset unless you can afford to. So he gave us the blessing, but then he left us with that quote. And so if anything, we kind of resonated on it and slept on it and was like, he was telling us not to spend that money. He didn't come out and say it, but he told us not to spend the money indirectly. And so for me, I know the next day and the days going forward that week, because we were ready to buy that car. We were like there, about to buy the car. Mm-hmm. And if anything, that we just kept having that conversation. We're like, okay, if we have the funds, does that mean that we need to spend the funds? Mm-hmm. And so in hindsight, we recognized, no, we don't. We really don't need to spend that money, because at the end of the day, it's a depreciating asset. We'll be losing money. And what Warren Buffett always says is rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1.
Yeah. And then when you think about Warren Buffett being one of the top 5 richest people in the world, like this guy still lives in the house that he always lived in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So his mindset is just different, or a cut above the rest.
Exactly. Now, full transparency. We were about to buy a Tesla. We absolutely wanted a Tesla. And what did we end up getting?
We got a Kia. That's a big jump. That's a big difference. Here we are. But, you know, when I think about it, all the successful people that we know, the multimillionaires, they pull up in beat up cars. They're not even 2020s or... No. Mm-hmm. I seen this guy worth multiple millions of dollars pull up in old Camry. And on top of the conversation that we had with our accountant, what also played in my mind is The Millionaire Next Door. Remember that book?
Yes, oh yeah.
And seeing all these guys pull up in these average regular cars that you wouldn't even know that they are multimillionaires based on what they drive and the way they dress, it made me reconsider.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad that he said that. And if anything, I think it really just made us realize, wow, that was a check for both of us, because again, we had the funds, we were getting ready to pay that money, and then we recognized we don't need to spend all of this money on a vehicle that's just going to get us to the grocery store and back, or wherever it is. So we can save half of that money literally and do something else with it so that we can create cash flow, and then just utilize the Kia that we're now rolling around town in as best as we can, because it still has all the features anyway, and at the end of the day, it has wheels. That's all we need is wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing that we want to make sure that we hammer home is the fact that once you have mindset under control, that means that you are prepared to welcome more money into your life. And what I say welcome more money is you want to make the most money that you can possibly make.
Yeah.
You want to make the most amount of money that you can possibly make, but you also want to be responsible with those funds. And mindset and discipline is so important, because you want to make sure that you don't spend that money on stuff that's not going to make you money.
Yes. So discipline being point number 2.
Yeah.
Discipline. And in our instance, we were disciplined enough to say, okay, we have this budget. We don't actually need to spend all this money because it just doesn't make sense to do it, and we can do something else with it.
Yeah.
The discipline that also comes into this when we're talking about money is controlling your money. We weren't taught this. We went to college. We have engineering degrees and master's degrees, and we were taught to go out, work for somebody, and bring the money back, and then go get a house, go get credit, and all these things. But all that ends up doing is making us spend money for somebody else, and we're never taught how to keep the money for ourselves to leverage it, unless you invest in yourself and educate yourself on these premises. So for us, with the discipline, it came down to letting our egos go, coming together as a team and having a conversation of, what are we going to do to make this better? And initially it was, I'm not going to say a struggle, but it was difficult because we both had different ideologies on what we wanted to do with our money. And it took the repetition of coming together, having meetings. Yes, it was painful in the beginning, but we got better at it. And now we're better communicators because of it. And we're less emotional because of it, because we understand that this is a strategic play instead of an emotional or whatever it is, because since we're married, this can be challenging. So I think it's made Darius and I better partners because we're disciplined enough to come together, to have the conversations, and then follow through with the things that we say we want to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that would be 2.5 key.
2.5?
Yeah, it's like in the middle of, going into the next one, but, I don't want to make it a separate one. Is the fact that our secret weapon is the fact that we can work together. Instead of it being a hindrance, is something that actually helps us, the fact that we're on the same page with our finances. And for those of you out there who are married, it's really important for you to be on the same page, because your finances is basically a business.
Yeah.
Because when you think of a business, you think about the fact that you have to maintain your household so that you have someplace to stay. You have to maintain your household so you make sure you have food on the table. You have to maintain your household so you make sure those bills are paid so that you can get to and from the source of money in which it comes into your house. So your relationship, part of it is the fact that it's a business and you need to treat it as such.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can meet once a week and be on the same page with our finances really helps us in our financial situation as far as what we want to accomplish now and in the future.
Yeah, and even if you're married or you're single, whatever it is, it's all about just sitting down, evaluating the numbers, and determining what it is that you need to do. What are the goals that you're trying to accomplish? Do you even know that you need to set financial goals? We didn't know that. We just knew we were taking it week by week, day by day, making sure that our bills were paid, and we looked up and another year had gone by. So right now today, think about, what do you want to accomplish this time next year when it comes to your finances? How much money do you want to have in the bank? What do you want to invest in? How much cash flow do you want to have going on? We didn't know to have those conversations, and it wasn't until that we sat down and started reading books on education and reading blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos and everything that we could to make sure that we understood what was going on. And now we're at a point where we're so dialed in where if there's a mysterious charge that comes up, we're both like, hey, what's that Amazon thing? Because we didn't talk about it, because we understand that every dollar that's not accounted for is a dollar that is not being put towards our financial goals.
Right. And what I also think is an opportunity for us is the fact that you came from a different background financially, that, the money was good. I would say in comparison to how I was brought up, where money wasn't as abundant.
Okay.
So the fact that we were able to meet in the middle, where I was able to adopt some of Carmen's characteristics or things that she learned, and having an abundance mindset versus, well, and also
Go ahead, say it. Scarcity mindset.
her being able to take on more of the discipline.
Yeah.
Because, from that background that I had, we had to better manage our money because there wasn't a lot of it. So I think that also helped, where we were able to meet in the middle.
True. Yeah, we both brought our baggage, literally and figuratively, to the table and was able to sort through it and make the most sense of it for us. So going back to, again, the discipline piece of it, figuring out the numbers, doing the math, this is not rocket science. All you have to do is sit down, understand what your salary is versus how much it costs you to live, match up the numbers, and figure out how you can stay positive. Because something that we mention in videos all the time is that as long as you have enough money to pay your bills and you have a little bit money left over each month, you are wealthy.
Right.
So don't be confused or misunderstand the concept of wealth. Wealth is all about making sure that you have the money that you need to finance your lifestyle. And then true wealth and abundance comes into that extra cash flow that you're accumulating and that you're saving and you're storing and you're investing to make more money.
Right. Absolutely. So, one thing that you mentioned is the money management, the fact that we come together on a weekly basis to go over our finances. That is a tool that you can use so that you can understand where the money's coming, so you can focus more of your time and your effort in creating more money or more opportunities. It's not. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, the one thing I want to say is it's about being honest with yourself. I think discipline also has to do with honesty, because you can fudge the numbers all day long, but you have to be honest with yourself to be like, I'm going to spend this much money. And going into the fact of, like, when we meet and talk about our numbers, this isn't about primping or skimping. This is just about saying, okay, X is going here, Y is going here, Z is going there. Just organization. That's all it is organization of the funds, because a lot of people think about budgeting or managing their money as something where they have to constrain themselves and they can't spend the money how they want to. No, we spend our money how we want to. We just make sure that it's allocated in certain buckets and that we're making sure that we're just in on one accord.
Right.
Because either one of us can overspend in a category accidentally or whatever it is and realize that that's jeopardizing what the bigger goal at hand, which is what we're trying to do.
Right. So our plan is 20% of everything that we earn, no matter if it's additional money or where
Bonuses,
it comes from,
whatever.
bonuses, whatever. 20% of everything that comes into our household is going to go to savings. And within our savings, we have funds set aside so that any event that we lose our stream of income, we can take care of ourselves for the next year. Another portion of our savings is what we use to invest so that we can generate passive income, so we don't necessarily have to physically go out and do the work. Now, the other portion of our income is 30%, in which we use to take care of our wants. Things that we don't necessarily need, or things that, if, stuff hits the fan, we can stop paying, get rid of, and we're still fine. The other 50% is where our necessities are.
The non-negotiables.
The non-negotiables. We need someplace to stay. We need food in the house, and we need to make sure the bills are paid, and we need to make sure that our health insurance is taken care of because we have a little baby.
Yeah, exactly. So those are just things that we need to consider. So giving you guys a little bit of insight as far as our blueprint goes with the discipline, and we adhere to those ratios just to make sure that our income is
allocated.
Thank you. Allocated appropriately. So Wealth Nation, if you want to join Darius and I in your financial quest for financial freedom, then definitely click on the link below and join our community, because we would love to serve you and continue to have the conversation of money, abundance, and financial freedom. Now, this leads us into point number 3, which is all about execution. So we kind of talked about that. You're talking about that 2.5 mark. We've been leading into execution this whole time, which execution just means go out and get it done. Get it done. Oh my gosh. It pains me to have this conversation a little bit, because all the people that we speak to and are just, amazing and teach us so many things, the one thing that we just find immediately is that people lack execution, because you can see through. You can hear it. You can hear through the conversations when people are talking to you about the things that you're doing. You automatically know if somebody's executing or not based off of just what they're talking about. And it pains me to realize that so many people have financial freedom right here in their grasp. But because they don't execute, they'll never get it until they decide that it's time to to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, because it's one thing to knock on the door to financial freedom. It's a whole nother thing to open it and walk through.
Yeah. Because let's talk about this. Another thing, right? So our accountant, I'm getting fired up. Our accountant, we made a lot of money this year. Our accountant talked to us and said, oh, well, you know how much you're going to have to pay in taxes this year? So with that financial freedom comes the responsibility to make sure that you have money, because taxes, things are going to come up and you're going to have to pay these bills. So if you're not disciplined in keeping a few funds here or there, then that financial freedom is going to continue to rob you, because we know taxes are one of the greatest eroders of wealth. So you have to have plans in place. That's another part of the allocation thing that we talk about, is we understand what our taxes are going to be every year. So we plan for that so that it doesn't catch us off guard and now we're scrambling to figure out what we're going to do with our taxes.
Yeah, taxes are huge. And with taxes, there's opportunity there, especially when it comes to infinite banking. So we leverage all the tools that we have at our fingertips because of the right mindset and the right discipline to take advantage of all the tools that we have.
Yeah, think about that. That is discipline. Who do you know plans for their taxes in advance?
Everybody.
Us, yes. We do. I'm talking to everybody out there in Wealth Nation land. Who do you know besides us that plans for their taxes? Maybe you do. If you do, congratulations. I am applauding you, because that is so fire. But the rest of us, let's be real, the rest of us are waiting for that refund.
Well, yeah. So if you answer the question, you don't know anybody else that plans for their taxes up front.
There's
or
an
ahead,
opportunity.
There's an opportunity for you to get some new friends. Because you are the sum of the people you hang around the most. So if you want a cheat code to increasing your net worth or your wealth, is to hang around other successful or wealthy or people that have more money than you, and you will inevitably earn the same amount of income that you by the people you surround yourself with.
Exactly. So going back to execution, and basically what we've been talking about is, like I said, putting your money where your mouth is and doing the things that you say you're going to do. Getting the mindset. So is it affirmations? Is it whatever it is? Is it budget meetings? Is it reading books, investing in yourself? Whatever that is, start feeding yourself with knowledge so that you can make sure that you can execute at the end of the day. And then the discipline is just keeping up with everything that you're doing anyway, putting it on paper, tracking your numbers, seeing what's happening. Because one thing that I think is nice, if you actually track your numbers, you're able to see where you can go. If you don't see it, if you can't envision that the numbers multiplying and doing whatever they need to do to make friends and bring more money home, then it's hard for you to understand where you can go from a financial standpoint.
The other thing that you want to make sure is you pay yourself first so that you can have money to invest. It's one thing to see that there's a ton of opportunities around you, but it's another thing not to be able to invest in those opportunities because you weren't disciplined enough to put money aside. So by all means, the very first thing you should do, if you're not already doing it, is to pay yourself first. And the next thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is make sure that you pay yourself interest. And when I say pay yourself interest, is whenever you go and pay off a debt, or if you borrow money, or if you have to dip into your savings account, make sure you replace that with interest. Because if you were to go and borrow money from somebody else, whenever we use someone else's money, we pay them interest.
Yes.
We should treat our money the exact same way. That's putting some respect on it. We need to put some respect on our money.
Put some respect on it.
Put some respect on it.
Yeah, and yourself, because you're the one who's out paying all that money, working all that overtime. So respect yourself. Why are you dragging yourself into the mud and working all these hours if you're just going to spend your money frivolously so you have to work more overtime?
Yeah, and I 100% understand, and this is, where I came from, is the fact that if I'm out there doing the work, I'm going to get what I want to get.
Ooh, that's another video. Oh, man. Go ahead, speak on it, Darius. Speak on it.
It's understandable that, you work so hard that you want to buy what you want to buy. That's perfectly fine. But then it comes a time where stuff happens that you're not prepared for because you spent all the money getting stuff that you wanted to get. And that's perfectly fine because you earned it. You have that choice. You have the funds to do so. But also take into consideration the fact that you don't always want to be working so hard for your money. You want your money to work for you. And the only way you can do that is by making sure you set aside some funds so that you can invest. Nope.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That's that Tesla. We're like, we work damn hard and we deserve this Tesla.
Yeah, we want those, butterfly doors.
So our ego was hurting a little bit. We were like, man, you can't get this Tesla.
I know, right?
So, but anyways, I'm so glad that you said that, because that's exactly what we were living. We were like, we work hard, we're going to reward ourselves. And it's not about that. We're not saying don't reward yourself. We're just saying, what reward do you want? Let's evaluate. Okay, reward number one, you have this nice fancy car that you get to drive in that's electric and it looks super sexy and it's really cool and it's super fast, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have the opportunity to have a car that's still reliable and stable and get you to where you go, and you can take 30 grand and put that into something that's going to cash flow and bring some more money your way every single month. Yeah. Just have that conversation with yourself. Which one do you want? Do you want the nice sexy car, or do you want a car but some money still that's coming in?
Yeah, you can
either way, you're still rewarding yourself, right?
Yeah. Instead of buying $100,000 car, you buy a $30,000 car and invest $70,000.
Oh, and then the repayments, the cash flow that's coming in, you can use that to reward yourself. How about we do that?
Yeah. So our idea when it came to our car is the fact that we didn't get a Tesla right off the bat, but since we used our banking system, we can use the money that we pay ourselves off, in 5 years. Because we pay cash for the car using our banking system. So when we pay ourselves off, we can just use that cash to buy our Tesla next time, mm-hmm. because it includes interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the interest is what is working for us. So we use the interest to reward ourselves. We'll keep the principal out working, bringing back friends and family, and interest is what I'm saying, so that we can continue to do this again.
Yeah, and
so
still use the $70,000 to invest.
That's such a great point, though, because think of now we're freestyling right here, because we're talking about life. This is life, because we work so hard. I'm guilty of it. I'm speaking to all the people that I'm speaking to our people, right? We know how this happens. We work hard. We're like, oh, I'm going to reward myself. I'll get a pedicure. I'm going to reward myself. I'll go get another edge up. What do you do in guy terms? What's your reward?
Well, it depends, because I like pedicures too.
You know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is $30 here, $50 here, $100 here. Those aren't huge things, but it adds up.
Yeah, that's like the minimum payments on our credit cards. They add up. $50 here, $100 here. We don't think about it, mm-hmm. but they add up, mm-hmm. which is why you don't have money at the end of the month.
Yes. So that's just the point that I'm making up, is if you want to reward yourself, put money aside, allocate a certain amount of money aside each month to reward yourself. So mm-hmm. that way you can curtail that spending, so that you can make sure that doesn't affect the goals that you're trying to set for yourself, mm-hmm. right? So if you're going to reward yourself, say it's going to be X amount of dollars, but then adhere to it, keep that discipline and that execution in place, so that you can still reward yourself, but accomplish your goals.
Yeah.
So we're jumping right into this video, and actually it's one habit that we want you to take on today. Absolutely today, one habit. You ready for it? It's called Pay Yourself First.
Absolutely.
And if you are not new to the Wealth Nation channel, then we talk about this all the time. However, if you're new to us, we always talk about paying yourself first. Why? Because if you're the one that's going out and acquiring this income, you need to respect yourself and pay yourself a wage and put money aside, so that there will always be money in place in case things come up.
Right, but that's something that you already know. I mean, let's take it a little bit further.
Okay.
Why is it so important
mm-hmm.
for you to pay yourself first?
Mm-hmm.
In your own words, what do you think that reason is?
Because I want to make sure I articulate this in a way, because you always give your money to everyone else. Mm-hmm. Like, why wouldn't you want to have something to hold on to for yourself? Mm-hmm. For you to show for? Why not have something to show for it?
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because I don't think we understand as consumers the value exchange and how things happen. When we exchange things, for example, when I bought this mug, when we bought this mic, when we bought these headphones, we exchanged money for these headphones, for the mic, for the mug. There was a value exchange, right? So X amount of dollars was the value placed on this thing, and we exchanged the currency that we had for it. But what you also don't realize is when you do that value exchange, every single time you give $1 away, you're literally giving a piece of your wealth away. You may not think about your dollar as wealth, but how many times do you give dollars away? Multiply that times 50, times 100, times 75. Every single month, you are literally giving money away in exchange for a good or service. But we never take the time to think about, is this something that's really going to bring value back to my life?
Right.
Or is this just checking the box?
Right. I definitely understand. And
what would you say?
Well, what I would say is, if we save ourselves to the end, like we traditionally do, we pay all our bills first. Mm-hmm. If we wait until the end to pay ourselves what's left over, a lot of times there's nothing left over. So in order to guarantee that we do have enough funds to actually save and be able to invest in ourselves, we have to do that first.
Absolutely.
And by doing that first, that puts everything else on the back burner, because it may not be as important that we pay it up front. But by us paying ourselves last, that shows that we're not as important as everything else. So you put the most important thing first, which is you, because you're doing all the work.
It is true. You know what? I went to a seminar a while ago, and I thought it was really interesting how this one speaker was talking about money and how you respect money. And so they said that, and I'll bring this all around and how it relates, but they were like, you know, how that when you have cash, right? Because these days everyone uses their debit card, but when you have cash, is it crinkled up in your pocket? Is it under the floorboard in your car? You know, where is your cash, and how do you actually respect the money? Or is it neatly tucked away in your wallet? Is it, you know, neatly in your pocket, like whatever it is? And when you think about how your money is stashed, supposedly that is how much respect you put on money. So if it's crumpled up, you don't care about it. If you actually have it neatly tucked away somewhere, then you actually maybe care a little bit about your funds. So I'm relating all of this for you to think about, one, how do you respect your money? And then we can talk about your debit card. Where is your debit card? A lot of people, you know, misplace their debit card, don't know where it is. What's going on? How much respect do you have for the things that are allowing you to exchange value?
Right. Now, one thing I want to say is I hope that everyone understands that there's a difference between love and respect.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah. Tell them.
We're not saying that we love money, but we have to respect it enough because it helps us keep food on the table. It helps keep our utilities running, and it allows us to travel to and from destinations the way we need to. So
Absolutely.
we respect money enough to prioritize it, but we don't love money
Where there's an obsession
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, whenever we get paid, we put 20% of everything that we earn goes into a savings account. It doesn't even hit our checking accounts. It goes straight to savings account. Now, the important thing to understand with every single dollar going to our savings account is the fact that we have a set amount there for basically like an emergency fund.
Totally. Yeah.
But anything over that, it goes to our investing. That's what we use to invest. So one thing I want you to understand is, yes, put aside every single dollar, a certain percentage of every single dollar that you earn, set it aside for you. But make sure you have a goal set for what it may take for you in the event of an emergency. Do you need to have 6 months? Do you need to have 12 months? Do you need to have a little less than that? Whatever that threshold is for you, make sure you have that. But because you're consistently, every single time that you get paid, no matter what the dollar amount is, if you have a certain percentage set aside to pay yourself first, anything over that amount goes to investing, which is really important because your emergency fund doesn't make you any money. That's in the event of an emergency. Your investments is what allows you to continue to cash flow and make more money.
Yeah, and I want you all to think about your emergency fund as something completely different. When we were taught about an emergency fund, it was all about emergencies. You know, when things come up, we're almost willing things that are going to negatively impact us.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to think about an emergency fund that way. That's why sometimes you may hear me refer to that fund as an opportunity fund, because if you have a flat tire, now you have the opportunity to pay for it without having to go into debt. If there's a medical expense that comes up, now you have the opportunity to pay for it as opposed to, having to go into debt to pay for it. So it's just, I just want you to flip your mindset on how you think about these things, because again, we don't want to just will negative things to happen to us. And the whole rainy day fund and things like that, we're just saying we're expecting a rainy day to happen. I don't want to expect a rainy day to happen.
Yeah, and that kind of goes.
I don't want to expect emergency to happen.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand with the mindset.
Yeah.
Whenever you are constantly thinking about something negative happening, 9 times out of 10, it usually comes up.
It's going to
happen. When you think about positive things, that's when positive things happen. So
Exactly.
you can basically, the way you think will be what you attract into your life. That's why we always say wealth is a mindset, because it absolutely is a mindset. It has to start in your mind, and you have to then match the habits with the visions that you have for yourself.
Exactly.
So I really like the fact that what you said, emergency fund does have a negative connotation with it. And I like the fact that you do mention sometimes that you change it. So that's really important for us to make sure we have the right mindset around the things that we're prioritizing and things that we're doing for ourselves financially.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that too, coming from a different perspective, right? If we're teaching you need to pay yourself first, and you're like, I'm paying myself first into this emergency fund, and the only time that you think about this reward of you paying yourself first is always money, like leaving you to pay for some sort of emergency, then it kind of gives you this feeling of just like, well, that was fun, me paying myself first. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand the picture that I'm painting there?
Yeah, I definitely understand.
So that's why I want to change it and call it an opportunity fund, because then that gives you something to look forward to, because you never know what opportunities can come up. Because again, then you realize that, wait, I have some money set aside. I can invest in this opportunity. Wait, I have some money set aside. I can pay for this expense that came up and not have to worry about it. Oh, something else came up. Now I can do this. Oh, something else came up. And if you don't look at it in that light, you're just going to continue to go, why am I putting this money away? And it's not really doing anything for me. So again, it's just always how the perspective that you put on things and how you perceive things. So today I want you to first figure out how much money you're going to pay yourself. Start with 10% of your income. If you can do 15, 20, 30, whatever it is, do it. You know, if you have that money that's just setting aside and you would be giving it to somebody else anyway, prioritize yourself.
Now, it starts with the mindset shift, because some of us may be paying ourselves last after everything else is paid.
Yep.
So the first thing we need to do is prioritize us getting paid first. Put that first. And if it's not 10%, then that's fine. Start with 5 and work your way up.
Exactly.
To 10.
Start with whatever you can do and be consistent.
Yes.
Whatever you can do and be consistent. And then once you reach that consistency, then decide if it makes sense for you to up the ante a little bit.
Right. Absolutely. I like the fact that you say that.
Yeah.
That's really important for you to start somewhere and work your way up, because again, what you focus on expands. And by you focusing on paying yourself first, even if you outsource it, like us, every time we get paid, it's automatically put into our savings account. And we automatically make decisions based on the amount of funds that we have, as far as investing based on the amount of funds we have in our savings account, because we have a goal set for how much money we need for 3 to 6 months of savings, and anything over that goes to an opportunity fund. So our priority isn't necessarily an emergency fund now, because we've reached that goal. Our priority is that opportunity fund, and that's what you have to get to. The more money that you're able to put into that opportunity fund, the more money you'll be able to make. So then it starts to change your feelings and the efforts that you put into saving money every single time that you get paid.
Absolutely. And I can guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, there aren't many guarantees in life, but I can guarantee if you start paying yourself first, death and taxes, those are the two guarantees. But if you start paying yourself consistently, you're going to be able to breathe easier. You're going to be able to do some other things that maybe you weren't able to do before because you didn't prioritize yourself. Think about your family, think about your friends, think about the trips that you want to take. What are all these things that you wish you could do, people you wish you could spend time with, and now all of a sudden you can, because you have the opportunity in place because you've started prioritizing yourself. So if you really, really hone into this, start respecting yourself, start respecting the money that is coming to you and prioritizing it, I guarantee things are going to change for you. And it wasn't until we started creating this habit in our lives and being consistent with it where we realized, wow, this is what financial freedom is. Financial freedom is prioritizing yourself, sticking to your goals, sticking to what it is that you say that you're going to do, and having money in the bank. Go figure. So that you can do have the opportunities in place that you want to do. Because I can't tell you how many times we weren't saving, we weren't prioritizing ourselves, and every investment opportunity kept passing us by because we didn't have the cash in place in order to invest.
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up about it if you're not there yet. It's something that you have to exercise. It's just like any other muscle. You have to go to the gym, you have to work out, and you have to continue to do it over and over again until you get into the position that you want to be in. Same thing with our finances. We have to be consistent. We have to get up and go to our financial gym, and we have to do our budget meetings on a weekly basis or however often that it takes for you. We have to do that consistently so that we can be able to articulate in conversation exactly what we want to do and what we want to accomplish for ourselves. And it starts with paying yourself first. That's the very first thing that you have to master.
I'm so glad that you use the analogy of going to the gym, because, you know, when you go to the gym the first few times, you're like, why am I here? This is miserable. Or, you know, you're just trying to get back in shape. And sometimes paying yourself first can feel that way, because you may not see the results immediately, but then all of a sudden your bank account starts to grow and grow and grow. And then you start feeling sexy.
Yeah.
And then you start appreciating like what the efforts that you're putting forth. So
Then you want to do more.
Then you want to do more. Then you want to start getting aggressive. But that's why we were saying with consistency, because sometimes we can do a little too much, and then we back down. And then when we back down, that affects everything that we're doing. So that's what we're saying. At least start with the bare minimum, get comfortable with that. And then once you're comfortable with that exercise, then start lifting 15-pound dumbbells or whatever it is. Then start lifting 20-pound dumbbells and things like that. So that this is just the opportunity to plant the seed for you so that you can start understanding how to really transform your finances. And, you know, again, if you're new to the Wealth Nation channel, Darius and I always talk about our financial journey. And this is just another story as far as how we understood our finances and how we decided to really take hold of that. So for those of you who are saving and who have this habit in place, you know, it's really important for you to understand what is next. So if you want to know what the next step is as far as transforming your finances, then definitely click on the link below. We would love to serve you at the Wealth Nation.
Right. The road to $1 million starts with $1.
Yes, it does.
$1. That's what it starts with. And that $1 is your savings. Now, the next step after you've mastered that, saving $1, you move on to investing $2 or however much you're saving. So really take advantage of the consistency, because consistency that you have with saving is going to be moved over into consistency with educating yourself about a specific type of investment that you want.
Yeah.
Now you have to become a master at whatever investment that you want to do next, because again, it goes back to consistency. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes knowledge to make money.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Knowledge is the potential to power and wealth. So by us educating ourselves and being consistent on the necessary things to, and I'm not being very specific about what investment you should make, because not everybody should be doing the same investments. We're all different. And that's what makes it's making money so interesting, is because you can make money from anything.
Totally.
What we're able to make money from may not necessarily be what you're able to make money from. What the next person is able to make money from may not necessarily be what's good for either one of us. But when we are consistent with a particular niche, then we become an expert.
Totally.
Experts are paid. Those who get paid, experts. So be an expert in your investment, and then you can continue your wealth building journey.
Absolutely. I love that breakdown. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of times people think that I'm just going to save it and that's it. And no, that's not the case.
You don't make money saving money.
No, you don't. And in fact, a lot of people say savers are losers. And what we're just trying to teach you to do is just to create a foundation of moving money.
Right.
And moving money in your direction so that you can determine what investments am I going to get involved with? How am I going to utilize this money that I've paid myself first to make more money? So at some point throughout your career, throughout your lifetime, you may decide, you know what, I'm going to create passive income. I have passive income coming in. Now I have the freedom to do whatever it is that I want to do. I can invest in other things. I can do, whatever it is. So get in the habit of paying yourself first, saving money so that you can then transform those dollars into multiple dollars and allow that money to work for you.
Now, as you're saying that, what I'm thinking about is the very first thing that we need to do is to pay ourselves first. Then the percentage amount of money that we're able to pay ourselves first, that's keeping us from going into debt for some of the things that we may not be able to afford. So it's to keep us honest. Now, the next thing that we want to focus on if we have debt is to get out of all third-party debt, because that is hindering our ability to save even more money because of the interest that we're paying on top of the debt that we have. So pay ourselves first, get out of debt. We can more aggressively save, and then we can invest.
Yeah, because when you think about it, with the money that you're saving, you could potentially be paying yourself even more money if you got out of debt. And if you stopped utilizing the plastic, those credit cards, if you stop swiping those for whatever it is that you need, and realize that maybe I can't afford this pair of shoes, this whatever that you're charging. Maybe I can't afford this right now. And it doesn't make sense for you to keep putting it and charging it and then having to pay interest, because that's just more money again that's leaving your household every single month. So again, start prioritizing. We keep using opportunity and prioritizing all video long, because that's really what it's about. Every time that you go to swipe your card, you need to be asking yourself, do you need this? And then can you buy it twice with cash? So can you buy it twice with cash? If you can, then maybe you can afford this item and pay with it with cash. And if you can't, then it doesn't make sense for you to indulge.
Yeah. One man's debt is another man's cash flow. So which position are you prepared to be in? Because every time you swipe that credit card, your interest that you're paying is an investment for somebody else. So make sure you think about every single dollar that is leaving your household. Make sure it has a job. Is this job going to be an investment for somebody else because they had a plan for your money more so than you did, because you didn't think about basically those new pair of shoes? You have to make payments on it, and those payments is making you have a revolving debt of interest. Cut that out, because that's money that you can be saving. That's money that you can be investing. That's cash flow.
And I love the quote, one man's debt is another man's cash flow. Quoted by Darius Britt.
Thank you.
Just think about that. Every time you go to swipe, one man's debt is another man's cash flow. So do I want to sit on this debt so somebody else can cash flow from me? I don't know. I don't know if anything is that worthy of sending money somewhere else.
But that is what a lot of people are doing. If we look at the debt clock, that's what a lot of people are doing, and that's what we've been programmed to do. That's what we've allowed to happen in our lives. So we have to start changing that, because of the fact most people don't save their money. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck and putting a lot of their funds in interest payments. Like that's really preventing us as Americans to progress forward faster than what we are.
Yeah, it's keeping us from doing that, because I even know many people that go, oh, this one credit card, this is for my emergencies. And that's a big no-no. And we did it. Okay, so we're preaching to the choir. We did it. We said this one big card that has a larger balance, a larger line, credit line, we're going to use this for emergencies.
Now let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that a good idea?
Because you're putting your money, you're putting everything in someone else's hands. One man's debt is another man's cash flow. So you're literally saying that somebody else is going to cash flow from any of the emergencies that come your way. Anything that comes up, that means you're not financially prepared to pay for it. So why would you put yourself in that situation anyway? You always need to make sure that you're financially prepared for anything that comes your way.
Now, the thing about having that emergency fund and that credit card for that credit card is, if we can't afford it and we put it on a credit card, we still can't afford it.
We still cannot, yeah.
So not only do we have an emergency, but we have to pay interest on the emergency. So it's kind of like on the dog racetracks where they have the rabbit and the dog's trying to catch the rabbit.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what the credit card is with the interest.
Yeah.
That's interest. You trying to catch that rabbit, but it's just, you have to work even harder to catch a moving target.
It's so hard.
And that's what we do when we put our emergencies on a credit card, is we have to catch that moving target because of interest.
Very good point. And really what it is that medical bill, those tires on your car, whatever emergency came up, now just became more expensive because you didn't financially prepare yourself in order to take on those expenses that come up.
Paying yourself first is very, very important, but the next move should be your best move. And a lot of times what we do is we get stuck on, or we don't even get stuck. Well, we get stuck on not even doing the first step.
Exactly. We don't even get started.
And that's why we keep talking about paying yourself first over and over again.
Yeah. Because really we wanted just to take the time to dedicate what we really mean by paying yourself first in the first place. Because I think throughout the whole journey of, your financial journey, people are trying to figure out, what do we do? How does this whole thing work? And so for us, what we want to make sure that you understand, the first point that we're going to be addressing today is that you need to establish a system where you have an expense account where your daily expenses are being paid from, and you need to have a savings account where you are literally paying yourself first every single time that you get paid.
Right. And that savings account is key, because everything that you do for yourself will be there. That's where your emergency fund is.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people get caught up on. I need to have 3 to 6 months in savings. And after that, I can just blow it.
Yeah.
But that's just the first piece of it. We have to take this a step further, because how are you going to continue putting yourself in a safe place if you just have money sitting there not doing anything?
Yeah.
Notice, I was just going to say, notice what I just said, sitting there, not doing anything. 3 to 6 months of savings, not doing anything.
Yeah, I think it's important that we address that, which we definitely will. So going back to paying myself first, a lot of times people reach out to us and go, Darius and Carmen, how can I pay myself first? I can barely afford to, pay all the expenses at the end of the day. And then how much do I pay myself? So really what we think that you should at least start with is 10% of whatever your income is. That should be always paid to yourself first. And you can do that in a few different ways. You can have your employer separate the direct deposit. 90% goes to your checking account, 10% goes to your savings account. So that way it's already done automatically. Or the minute the money hits your account, you already have an automatic transfer ready to move the money over. And that's how we always like to automate things, because you don't even have to think about it. It's being done. Now, to address the point as far as how am I allocating these funds without rocking the boat of my expenses, we need to figure that out first, because you should absolutely be able to save money and pay all of your bills without any issues. If you are having issues, that means in the spending category, in that spending bucket that you have, you may be overindulging in some categories. Maybe your home is too expensive. Maybe your car is too expensive. And
no, it's not you maybe. You are definitely overindulging if you don't have enough money to pay yourself to save.
Yeah, to reallocate the funds. And what I mean by too expensive, you may say to me, oh, I can afford the monthly payments, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that your monthly payments are taking up too much of your income, so that you can't pay yourself. You can't afford these other things because your car or your house or whatever it is taking up too much of your income.
Yeah. And there's 2 points that I want to make. And the first one being that the emotional benefit of having funds set aside, it really goes a long way in you playing this money game.
Yeah.
Because if, let's say you pay all your expenses and you go to the end of the month and you don't have anything to save for yourself, that takes an emotional toll on you, to where you feel like you don't have enough money, or there's some lack somewhere in your life, and that doesn't give you the opportunity or the confidence to take shots in places you need to.
Yeah.
So if you do have funds aside, let's say you put your money aside first, but then you go and pay your bills and you don't have any money left, you can always look and see that you paid yourself first, and there's money available for you to go out and make more money. The whole idea of making more money and investing in assets or investing in yourself, it has a lot to do with confidence. Confidence, I would say, is for us is about 80% of the opportunities that you decide to shoot at. And if you don't have any confidence, then 9 times out of 10, because you start with the lack of confidence, then a lot of times the things that you want to do, you do out of just pure, you're just trying to make something happen.
It could be ignorance, it could be emotions, it could be all of it.
Yeah. You do something out of the fact that you're trying to make something happen. It's like a Hail Mary. And how many times have you seen Hail Marys work? They only work on TV. But for the average person, you have to have a plan, which brings me to my second point. Paying yourself first is a part of your plan. It is not the plan, is a part of your plan. And the way Carmen and I started off our finances when we started to become successful is the first thing we did is pay ourselves first. The first thing we do now is pay ourselves first. All the other wealthy people that we know of, the very first thing they do is pay themselves first, because that's the beginning of their plan. Now, money goes to those who have a plan. And if you think that's not the case, look at where your money goes. There is going to somebody that has a plan for your money. And best believe the bank has a plan for your money. You may not have one, but the bank does. Yeah. So by you not having a plan, that's why you end up not having or being in a position that you want to be in financially, because you don't have a plan. So at the end of the day, make sure you have a plan for your money, because your money will follow the the actions that you tell it.
Yeah. So basically, if you, what's the quote? If you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail.
There you go.
And that is what really is encompassed within your money. So that's why we want to make sure today we're stressing how to pay yourself first. So again, look at your income. Now, figure out what 10% of that is. Figure out what 20% of that is. Maybe you can afford to pay yourself more. And these stipulations are up to you. But at the bare minimum, you should be paying yourself at least 10% of your income, because you don't want to continue to give your money away to everyone else and not keep any for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So very first point, go find that savings, 10%, put it away, lock it up. The second point that we want to address with this video is, like we said, the action of finding the money. The second part is being consistent with actually paying yourself, because it's one thing for you to understand what the numbers are. It's another thing for that money to continue to be banked every single month without fail.
Right.
That's the biggest thing about this, is consistency, because it doesn't make sense for you to pay yourself in January, skip February, maybe come back in April, maybe hit it back in September. You're not doing anything. You're not being productive with these savings, because what you need to recognize is that your expense account is blow money, basically, right? That's money that you're not necessarily going to see again, because you have to pay your utilities, you have to pay whatever expenses are. Your savings is really the strategic account in which it's going to allow you to live the lifestyle that you want to live, because we're going to take that savings account and we're going to do something with it. We're going to make that money make money, and it's not just going to sit. So that's why for us, when we think about infinite banking, we always want to coach our clients up to make sure that they are good stewards of money, and that they're in the habit of saving, and that they're in the habit of creating cash flow, because without it, the policies can be affected, your whole banking system can be affected. And we want to make sure that off the gate, you have a really good understanding and respect for money.
Yeah. And just off the gate, or if you come to us and say you want a policy, but you have a problem saving money or paying yourself first, then we've told our agents not to sell you a policy, because the policy isn't going to help you do the first step. The first step is paying yourself first. You should be doing like years ahead of the time. Like we're trying to put you on game when it comes to using life insurance as a tool, but you have to do your part or due diligence initially so that you can actually get into the game.
Yeah.
Paying yourself first should be the easy part. It's the automatic thing. Having a plan is the free stuff. We should take advantage of all the free stuff that we have to do, or stuff that only requires effort and energy, and not time and not money.
Yeah.
And we have to execute on those things. Those are the tangibles that we need to be successful with money. Infinite banking is a process, and you have to plug in good habits to this process in order for it to work. Having a life insurance policy is just a tool. Yeah. And I read a book, An Asset, by Caleb
Williams.
Williams, that referred to the life insurance policy as just a tool, and it's similar to a golf club. Now, if you have to go and play golf, would you rather have $1 million club, or would you have $1 million swing? And that's exactly what the difference maker is in this process. It's the process, not the policy. So the closest thing you have to being good at this system is the process that you bring into it. And if you don't have a good foundation of paying yourself first, then you really can't start. But just the second part to this video is figure out what that number is for you in savings. Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months? Whatever it makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
But since you have a consistent habit of paying yourself first, everything that is over that, you should start investing those funds. You should start using those funds to make money, because that is key. Making more money is key. That's the whole purpose of money, is to make more money.
Now, I want to address what you were saying about habits. And we're not even with this point that I want to make. It's not even about money, because we have a lot of people that come to us and think that the minute they buy a policy, their life is going to change and everything's going to be amazing. And to your point, if you're not bringing bad habits into this, if you are bringing bad habits into this relationship, then it's going to be a challenge for you. That's why for us, it's very important to make sure that you understand this information up front, because just having a policy isn't going to change your vision, is not going to change your goals. You have to come correct with the discipline and the fortitude to see everything through. So this comes with everything. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you want to eat better, if you want to spend more time with your family, whatever those habits are that you want to start adopting for yourselves, at the end of the day, what is the main factor? It's discipline. It's taking the time and taking the action that making the action that it takes to get these things happening.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose weight if you're not committed to the plan. You can't eat better if you're committed to Twinkies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to figure out exactly what it is that you're doing that's affecting your ability to be successful, and you have to take that same lens and apply it to your finances. Why am I unable to save? Why am I unable to get ahead? Why am I still living paycheck to paycheck? You have to figure out what the root cause is. Are you overspending? Are you overindulging in certain things? Are you reckless? See, at the end of the day, do you not have a plan? A lot of these things can be curbed. Like you said, these are free things.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is do a little bit of math to figure out what that root cause is and recognize, like, you know what, I'm eating out too much. Or, you know what, my car is way too expensive and taking, 50% of my income. And that's why I'm struggling to make these other things meet, because my car is eating up into everything. So first of all, look in the mirror, evaluate that, and then determine, okay, how am I going to move forward? Because again, like we said, we absolutely want to serve as many people as we can, but we can't serve you if you can't serve yourself.
Right. And all these things that Carmen mentioned, they're habits. We don't break habits. Like, if you have a habit of smoking, that's a habit. What you can do is you can switch that habit out with another one. So what our job is to have more good habits than bad habits, because habits don't break. We just change them. So, and a good example of this is I have family members who had to stop smoking, and what they replaced that smoking habit with was food. Is that they stopped smoking, but is overeating still a problem? They switched that habit with another habit. We have other friends that instead of curbing their smoking habit, they started going to the gym. They replaced that bad habit with the good habit.
Yep.
It's the same thing that is the case when it comes to overspending. Success is a habit. So we have to figure out what habits that we can start for ourselves that can put us on the right track for success.
Yeah. And not hinder us in a different avenue. But like you said, we stopped smoking, but now we're overeating, and now we've gained a ton of weight, and now our health is still affected.
Right.
So what is that to your finances?
It's the opposite of success. What's the opposite of success? Failure. So failure is a habit. So is success. Let's make sure our habits set us up for success.
Wow. I never thought about it that way when you said failure is a habit, because you continue to do things that are not putting you in the right position.
Over and over again, yeah.
The definition of insanity. And wow, that's really powerful. And I never thought about that. Failure is a habit, and so is success. I totally get that and understand that. So, okay, moving on to the third point that Darius started talking about, which is with the savings and investing. So for us, when we talk about paying yourself first, please hear us loud and clear. We are not saying to keep your money inside the savings account. We're most of all just telling you that you need to get in the habit of saving money, of getting used to the system that you're building for yourself. Because like I said earlier, we're going to use our savings account to leverage so that we can do more, we can create cash flow, and really bring home that lifestyle that it is that we're trying to do.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the reason why we're harping so much on paying yourself first and successful habits is because banking is a habit. Like when we use our funds with our banking system, it's a habit. So we have a habit of using our banking system to make more money. And when you watch our old videos and you hear me talk about how we use our banking system to go on vacation, or to pay off our rent, or pay our rent up for a year, or to pay for dinner, it's because psychologically it has become a habit. It has become habitual that every single time we spend money, there's an opportunity to make money. And the reason why that's the case is because someone is always making money every time you come out your pocket. So why not start thinking of different ways, or put yourself on that just that subconscious wavelength of making money from every single thing that you do because somebody is.
Yeah, it's true. Now, the important thing well, all of this is important, but really once that discipline has cemented in your brain, the next thing is, like you said, how am I going to make money from this? Because when we put our emergency fund away, when we put the 3 to 6 months away, whatever it is, it's always sitting there, and money sitting or money stagnant is not doing anything for you. So that's why for us, we totally love the idea of infinite banking, which is being able to just take our savings account and move it into a whole life insurance policy. That way we can earn a guaranteed return and we can get a death benefit, God forbid something were to happen to us. Double whammy on top of that. And in addition, since our money is compounding, we're still able to access those funds and do whatever we want with it.
Right.
So if anything, we're just creating a different system by just moving our money to a different financial product, which is something that is definitely to your benefit. So if you want to learn more about that, click on the link below in this video so you can learn how to create your own banking system. Now, making money from your savings account. Who knew that you could possibly do something like that? I know for
people
us,
that got money.
yeah, of course they knew. We didn't know anything about that. We're like, yeah, I don't really understand how this works, but now we totally understand how this works because we do it for ourselves.
Think about it. There's two sides to every single game. There's an offense and defense.
Yeah.
Your 3 to 6 to 12 months of savings is your defense. Now, how do we get on offense? We have to put ourselves in a position to make some passive income.
How can we start scoring?
How can we start scoring? How can we start putting points on the board? We do that by getting on offense. And the crazy thing about us living in these United States of America is there's so many opportunities surrounding us to where we feel overwhelmed of the opportunity.
Ooh, the shiny object. There's always something to do. There's always something to do.
There's always something advertised to get you to maybe make more money or get you to spend money.
Yeah. And then because it can even talk about business, because we have so many people, I want to start a business. And then you end up starting 70 different businesses and you don't start one. So really making sure that you're keeping in mind with the shiny object syndrome, be aware of that. And basically what the shiny object syndrome is you get your attention is changed for all the new opportunities that come. All of a sudden, I want to do this. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do this. That's what the shiny object syndrome is. And we all fall upon it. We've fallen upon it, but we recognize that you have to get to a point where you can't keep operating this way. At some point, you have to commit to something.
Yeah, and it's something that we had to learn to do, because here's just a brief story. When Carmen and I first got started into infinite banking, we were doing real estate, and our bread and butter was lending on real estate investment properties. But once we started getting our policies going and we started having money, then we started thinking that we could lend on just anything.
Yeah.
We started lending on cars. We started doing personal loans. We were doing
anyone who needed money.
We were doing like umbrella loans for multiple houses. We were lending basically to anybody with money. But what we learned is the collateral that you need in order to lend money, it is not something that we wanted. So what we had to figure out is that we need to become specialists with our money. So when it comes to you figuring out an idea on what kind of passive income or what type of investment that you want to do, yes, initially try a bunch of different things to see what you really like. But at some point, you're going to have to pick one. You're going to have to figure out your major.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
You go into the money school, you're gonna have to figure out your major and specialize in it.
And specialize in that. I like in the comments, someone said you got to stay focused. That's exactly what we're trying to say. You got to stay focused, because there's always going to be opportunity. There's always going to be distraction. And if you continue to play into all of those distractions, then it's going to deter you from accomplishing your goals. And we know that all too well. You know, we've had to get to the point where we have to remove ourselves from family and friends for a minute just so that we can get focused on our business and see it through, because we kept getting distracted by all the other things that were coming our way. And determining on whatever it is when it comes to your savings, remember, you have to have that discipline. You got to be focused. Are you going to go out and hang out and spend money frivolously? That's not doing anything for you. Or are you going to be like, hey, you know what? No, I need to be focused and I need to bootstrap a little bit and I need to put these funds away so that I can at some point do exactly what it is that I want to do. But there's a process and there's a system that goes into this, and it's going to take a little bit of time for you to build it up. But the point is staying focused. So thank you for that.
Yeah, your whatever you decide to specialize in is basically your filter. because when you have money, opportunity always finds you.
Yes.
You don't have to really figure it out. What you have to figure out is what opportunities you want to pass on and which ones you want. So having a specialty allows you to hone in on all those opportunities coming your way.
Yeah. So if you all are still with us, give us a thumbs up so we can see the engagement. Thank you guys for all of your interactions and everything on the chat. So the other thing that I want to address is when we talk about shiny object syndrome and then investing opportunities, like you said, the filter, you have to figure out what is it that you specialize in? What are the things that you already know that you could possibly monetize? Because what we find that people do is they spend so much time reading and learning and educating on something that they have no knowledge about, which is fine. Hear me out. You should always be educating yourself. But the thing is you are right now a subject matter expert in something. You are getting paid for something right now today. This is your subject matter expertise, but yet you're spending all this time over here trying to learn whatever this is when you know something right now and maybe could just brush up on those skills. So what I'm saying is sometimes we take for granted the information that we know. So what do we possibly know right now that we could take and utilize for monetization, starting a business, investing, whatever it is, so that we're not draining ourselves of time and resources researching something else that may not be our expertise just yet.
Yeah.
And then at whatever point, if something interests you, then go research it. But right now, utilize the knowledge that you have right now to make money.
And it could go back to focus, because if we're trying to figure out the root cause, if you don't have focus, you can't even start to think about what you're actually good at if you're trying to put out these fires right here around your feet. So one of the things that we
hold on. Whew. You just took me back for a moment. So you have. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
I think I can. So a lot of times we can't focus on the opportunities that we can create for ourselves because we're too busy trying to focus on putting out these fires right around our feet.
Did you all hear what Darius said? I mean, I think that's the most powerful thing, because the whirlwind of the day-to-day life that we live in,
it's a distraction.
There's so many. I just got distracted 3 minutes ago before we started this video, and I'm like, oh, Carmen, focus, right? So if you are constantly being distracted every single day, how in the world can you even know what your specialty is? Thank you.
So maybe we have to focus on those things first. How can we make sure our just around us stays just have solitude around us? How can we put ourselves in a position to do that so that we can take the time to even think about what we're good at? Because one of the problems that I understand that people have is that I don't think we understand that there's a difference between spending money and using money. Right?
Taking him to church today, Darius.
There's like in both situations, money's coming out of your pocket, but it's for a different purpose. Now, when we think about spending money, those nice shoes, that's spending money. $100 pair of jeans, that's spending money. What else?
Your car.
You're putting rims on your. People don't put rims on their car anymore.
But we have.
Yeah, we have in college. I had some 20s. So that for me, that was spending money. But when it comes to using money, it's when you use money, it comes back with friends, right? When you use money, you give somebody a loan that has collateral and they pay you back with interest. That's using money. The banks are experts at using money. But we take the same source facility and our checking account and we spend money. The thing about spending money is it doesn't come back.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. And that's why we want you to understand the difference between these accounts, right? So going back to what we've been preaching on this video this whole time, your expense account
Full circle.
Yeah, we're coming back. Your expense account at the bank is your ability to spend money, right? We have two buckets: spending money, using money. We want your savings account to be the account where you are using money, where you are putting money out there and it's coming back with friends. It's generating income for you. So for you all as the consumer, we want you to understand that there's a difference.
And that's it. We're consumers. That's the team that we inherited. We inherited, like a lot of times, like if we think of our religion, we inherited our religion. We didn't have a choice because that's what my grandmother did. That's what my mom did. And my my great grandmother.
Mhm.
So the same thing happens when it comes to our finances. Our understanding of finance, we inherit also,
Yeah.
but we don't have to keep it.
No.
We don't have to keep it. And right now, what we're doing when it comes to focus in our specialization, we specialize on spending money
Because that's all we know.
because that's all we know.
Same thing with your health. Sometimes all you know is to eat in a certain way because that's what your family did. But you don't know that you have control, right? You have control over what you do. And all that you need to do is just start educating yourself. So if you're watching the video right now, again, give us a thumbs up on this video, like the video, so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page. Start educating yourself, understanding the difference between spending money and using money. And how are you going to start using money to your benefit? How are you going to start using money so you can monetize your specialty? What is it right now that you can start monetizing on, that you can start getting money from? You can be a consultant in something, right? As of today, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on business loans, on marketing, whatever it is. You can consult in something today.
Right. And just to give you a little feedback in a real talk moment, Carmen and I in savings, we don't have 3 months of savings because we have a life insurance policy for that. We have a life insurance policy for our savings. So any additional funds that come into our life that we've set aside, it automatically goes into our investment account because we already have our savings for emergency taken care of. So the more we continue this system or this process or this habit, the more money we can use to make more money.
Absolutely. And then when we're talking about making more money, how does this work? We're not saying to then take your savings account and then start investing it. We have one step that we add into this process, right? So we're saying take your savings account, put it into a whole life insurance policy so that that savings account can be protected, right? Because you're going to get guarantees, you're going to get life insurance at the end of the day, and that money is going to compound and earn a guaranteed rate for you. Then take those funds and use it for investing. Is it business? Is it stocks? Is it crypto? Is it whatever it is, real estate? But make sure that whenever you take a loan from your policy and invest those funds, you have a guarantee that those funds are coming back. That's the other thing that we don't understand when it comes to investing is what does Warren Buffett say? Never lose money, and then don't forget to never lose money. Those are the 2 rules of success. Why do we continue to invest in things and we're okay with losing money?
Yeah.
We're okay with it. Oh, I know that I'm only going to bring back so much and I'm okay with the losses.
We're okay with taking risks too.
Yes, no.
Like, you don't have to take any risks because if you have the money, you can make the rules. When the reason why risk is a thing is because that means you're giving up your money to somebody else.
Yep.
So that's what somebody else tell you just in case they lose all your money.
Yeah, you should be okay, Darius. I'm going to take your money, I'm going to invest it, and you should be okay knowing that there's risk and that there's losses.
Right.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Hell no.
The more, in order for me to make money, that means I have to risk more money.
Yeah.
That's not the case. The only people who are risking money are the people that are throwing those Hail Marys.
Let's put this into perspective. Do you think you're going to go to a billionaire and say, Mr. Billionaire, I lost some money? Are you okay with that? You think how you think they're going to take it?
Okay.
No, they're not going to take it okay because they're good stewards of money and they're going to be like, what happened to my money? How do you think they got to $1 billion in the first place? How do you think people with money got with money in the first place? Is because they don't take risks and they have guarantees and they know that their money is coming back.
And they specialize in something.
Exactly. So
try going to a billionaire and asking them how to fix your car, for example. He has no clue. It's okay. It's okay for us to not have any idea how to do something because we are focused on something else. Ask a brain surgeon how to work a coffee machine.
Oh man. And if he knows how to, you need to find a different brain specialist.
Yeah. ask him how to fix a TV or do some plumbing. He has no clue.
He has too much time on his hands.
and honestly, I'm saying real talk again because I really want you guys to understand this is that it's okay to not know everything. Like you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? That's where that saying comes from. Because if you ask somebody that is super successful at one thing, how to do something else, they can't even carry on a conversation about it.
Yeah. Because it's not their thing.
And that's exactly what you want to do. And I learned this from just this experience with the whole us understanding real estate, banking, and life insurance is that some of the guys that are super successful, they are not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to being social about things outside of money.
Yeah. Because again, going back to the specialists. So the point again that I want to harp on you all is and I hope that you get this from this video. Whenever you take your savings and then you are investing it when you're trying to bring back friends, you should never, never, never put yourself in a situation where you are okay with a loss. And the reason being is, again, because people with money do not take losses.
No.
People with money take something called collateral, meaning they get their money back in some way, shape, or form. So you need to be able to be just as diligent and just as disciplined as they are. So if it's time for you to invest in something, you better, for one, make sure that you have some sort of collateral as a guaranteed payback, because every time you lose money, not only did you lose money, but you lost your ability to make more money with those funds. And if you keep occurring losses here, there, everywhere, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to continue to lose more and more money, not be able to keep up with inflation, not be able to keep up with taxes, and then you're right back to the drawing board. So I want to stress this, because this is what the part of infinite banking where I feel like a lot of people don't talk about is you can be all in the policy design, how the policy this and that and the other, but then you come to us and go, hey, what do I do with it? And we need to make sure that you understand what to do with the policy, because just having the piece of paper, the policy itself, isn't going to do anything for you, because you need to figure out how you're going to create cash flow from the policy in the first place.
Right. And just circling back to when we say pay yourself first when it comes to this infinite banking process, when you deposit money into the bank, that money is then used. Like your deposits in the bank is then processed through the bank system to lend money out to somebody else. So when we talk about deposits, we say pay yourself first, and we pay ourselves first into our banking system.
Yeah.
That is us paying ourselves first, is going into our banking system, so it can be then processed just like a bank and used to make more money.
Yeah, and then when the whole thing that goes out when you're investing, like we talk about, when you have you're bringing money back with friends or whatever it is, you need to figure out whatever interest you are going to be incurring. If you're sending money out, you should definitely be able to make some sort of interest, whether it's from your investment or whatever the case may be. So make sure that when you're investing, you're getting money back with friends and you have some sort of collateral as a guaranteed payback.
Right.
So again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you're still with us, like this video so that we can get some algorithm love our way from YouTube. Go ahead.
One thing I want to share as we sign off is the fact that life insurance inside the contract says that you are guaranteed to earn a certain amount.
Yes.
My question to you is, in the entire world, do you think that is the only guarantee contract that you can have? So if the question is yes, then you are right.
Yeah.
If the question is no, you're also right. So there are people that stack guarantees in their favor. That's why they continue to make money. So if you can guarantee to make money, then why not find all those little gold nuggets scattered around, all those little Pokemons scattered out
Pokemon
everywhere?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. If you say yes, if you say no, either way, you're right, because that's going to be how you manage your funds. That's going to be how you do this thing. So again, we hope that you say yes so that you can continue to make some more funds.
Right. And you said it's a crazy thing question, but do they take losses?
Yeah.
A loss
Our battery's about to die. Hold on, keep going.
A loss is buying coffee at Starbucks because that money is gone.
Yeah.
So when you think about a loss, start thinking about losses and wins differently, then your mindset and your psychology of money changes also.
Yeah, because so
a loss is whenever you spend money, you don't get it back. So your expenses, you spent money and
you didn't get it back.
It's gone. And you bought something that isn't adding value to you. So that's considered a loss.
Every single time it's a loss. So then on the contrary, how do you combat that? Now we have to figure out how to create cash flow so that I can pay for everything, all of my expenses, so that I'm not continuing to take on losses. Someone else is paying for Starbucks, not me.
Yeah. And that's the thing about creating a system is you can have, you don't have to be the one depositing money into your banking system, because the banks don't deposit any money into their own banking system. So what you have to do is get from point A to point B to point C to point D.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could essentially outsource your income. Somebody else could pay for your income.
That's called passive income.
I know, but I'm saying when you're learning about money and recognizing like, oh man, I can invest and then those funds can come in and pay for this, that, and the other. Like, we're not taught this in school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge epiphany once you recognize like, oh my gosh, somebody else can literally take over all of my expenses and I don't have to use my income for this. Huge game changer once you start to understand those nuggets and apply it into your life.
Right. But it all starts with the habit of paying yourself first, because habits is something that you can just outsource in your brain and outsource it to the subconscious mind where you just do it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Paying ourselves first is something that we don't even think about anymore. So we don't have to use that brain capacity on paying ourselves first. We can use it someplace else, like making money.
Exactly. So what we'll do, you all have been so amazing. You've been hanging on. So the last part of this video, we're going to start answering just a few questions that we've seen from above. So we're just going to take a few minutes and peruse since this is a live video. Thank you guys again.
There's a lot of comments.
If you're still with us, go ahead and hit that like button so that we can continue to get that engagement. So let's see. Can't wait to get my first loan. Finally got my policy approved. We're so excited. There we go. There we go.
He said, live in a tent in the woods, invest 90% of your income and walk to work.
Why not?
But see, the problem is you're not making enough money, because if 10% of your income you have to live in a tent, that's a problem. If 10% of your billionaires live on 10% or 1% of their income,
Mm-hmm.
but they have so much money.
Yeah. No, I'm reading that as your expenses are so low, just live in a tent and let the rest be put into savings. Why not? If you're that frugal and are cool with taking showers at the gym, do what you got to do.
Yeah, we put about 70 we put about 60% of our income into the bank.
Into savings.
Into our system.
Yeah. Love your videos. Extremely helpful. Thank you guys so much. Facts. Thank you guys so much for the love. We really appreciate it. Let's see. What are we missing?
Good morning.
I'm just going through the comments.
I just use my banking system to upgrade my home. There you go.
There we go.
Because that your home, especially if it's already paid off, is an appreciating asset. Something that you're going to pass on. You're going to pass wealth on to the next generation.
Gotta love it, Christian. What's up? Thank you, Christian, for the love. A member of our team. Are we into crypto? We are not. Not for any other reason other than it's not our specialty.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. So we just haven't gotten into it because it's not our specialty. We have a lot of other knowledge that we need to monetize first before we go start researching all the ins and outs of crypto.
That's one of those shiny object opportunities
that keeps knocking on our door.
Yeah.
We're like, hold on, crypto. We're not ready for you just yet. Let's see. How do I get in contact with you guys? wealthnation.io /masterclass, wealthnation.io /masterclass. In order to get in contact with our team, you have to watch our masterclass first and then fill out an application so that we can serve you and get a policy designed. So that's how you get your questions and everything answered. You have to first watch the masterclass and then apply. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Darius has a book of awesome sayings, doesn't he? He always pulls it out just randomly.
It comes when we're having conversation like these and I get a little heated and it just comes out.
Yeah, I love it. Let's see. Is there anything else? I thought I saw a few going through. So basically, your savings is your investment funds, basically. Yes. Well, we had kind of touched on that. So again, the savings, what we're doing is parking into a life insurance policy. And then from life insurance policy, we're using it to invest.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not taking our savings and then investing, because what happens is in that case, we don't have a pass through where our savings has continued to earn a compounded rate. And then we have the life insurance protection. So again, if you understand the ins and outs of infinite banking, whenever you borrow money from the policy, you're not losing your ability to earn compound interest. So your policy is continuing to compound as you're earning interest outside of the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you take your money from a savings account and put it straight into investment, you're no longer earning any sort of compounding and it's going straight into the an investment pool. So we want to have our cake and eat it too.
Can you Google translate this one?
So I'm not sure what that is. We'll have to go forth. Thank you guys again for all that information. Good morning, guys.
It was
starting
one in
from
Spanish
scratch. No. Let's see what else. What are the top whole life insurance companies, and what companies do you have? So honestly, a lot of people.
Insurance company is the one you got your policy with.
Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of agents utilize or name drop insurance companies for sales. Honestly, what you need to do is work with a mutual dividend paying whole life insurance company.
And an agent that has a life insurance policy.
That's it.
Using their life insurance policy.
Okay. So let me preface. Let me go back. You need to work with a dividend paying mutual whole life insurance company. It doesn't matter if it's number 1 on the board or number 17. The main thing is you need to work with an insurance agent who is doing infinite banking. Right. Again, like I said, I feel like in the industry, so many people just name drop. Oh, you need to work with this company. You need to work with this company. No, you need to work with an agent who's banking and who is actively taking loans and can coach you through the process, because it doesn't matter the life insurance company, because really they all work relatively the same.
And it's like saying that you should only bank with JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Because that's the top bank.
Yeah.
But nobody says that.
Yeah.
But then you have your money sitting in your community bank and it's not even on the top 100 list.
But the withdrawals and deposits work
the same way.
Yeah. So again, who is coaching you through this process? And right now we're working with Ohio National Life and Security Mutual Life for us.
Mm-hmm. But we're not married to them.
Let's see what else. Other questions. What do you mean by pay yourself interest? Basically, like we said, whenever you are investing money, you need to make sure that money is earning interest, because we need to be making money with friends. So someone is either paying the interest, or you are paying yourself interest if you're borrowing the money from yourself. Because if you were to put your money on a credit card or get a personal loan, you would have to pay the bank interest. So that's why we're saying if you're going to get money from your policy, you should pay yourself the same amount of money that you would have paid the bank paying yourself interest.
Right.
So you're going to pay the policy loan back plus interest. And if that money's out working for someone else, they're paying the interest.
Yeah. Shout out to Terrence here. He has a good question. If I've seen over a lot of your videos when you said start a side hustle. I found what I would like to do and have a little money to start, but I have no business knowledge to get it started. Any suggestions? You know what? Here's an example. When Carmen and I first started with real estate, what we started doing is going to the courthouse and finding foreclosures and knocking on people's doors. We had no idea we had the theory of what we want to do with real estate. We had a little money and we didn't have any knowledge or experience. So we started where we were and did the free version of real estate until we started getting more experience. And as our experience grew, our knowledge grew and our pockets grew.
Yeah. In addition, what I would say now in COVID, you have such an amazing opportunity to do research online at your fingertips, right on your cell phone. So whatever your discipline is, start watching YouTube videos of people who are in this discipline. See what are the products and the services that they're offering. See how you want to emulate that. Do you want to sell how they're selling, or do you have a different way that maybe they can sell? So all you're doing is utilizing these individuals to study to see how they've structured their business. And then you pick and choose what you like from it. And if you want it to be a digital business, great. If you want to do a brick and mortar, you know how to set that up. I'd say that's probably the cheapest way to get started, is just go see what the competition is doing, because there's obviously demand if there's competition.
Yeah. And like Carmen said, see what the people at the top are doing and ask them for help.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that sit on the top of whatever position they're in a position where they can give back, and they have an idea of not necessarily competing, but cooperating.
Yeah. Now, if you go to, this is for everybody, if you go to people and you ask for help, or you say, how can I get started? How can I do this? Always come to the table with something, right? Don't ever just do the, I want to pick your brain scenario. Come to the table with something. Hey, Darius and Carmen, I'd like to sit down with you guys. I have a solution maybe that could help you in your business. So that way now there's an even exchange, and this individual isn't just educating you. You don't have anything to bring to the table.
It works both ways.
It works both ways, so that the people who you're working with don't feel like you're using and abusing them because you're just taking. So always give something else of value that you think this business owner or this mentor could benefit from. And I say that with you because that was a little tidbit that we learned along our way, is that people are much more willing to add value to their life if they see how much value you are able to bring to their lives as well.
Yeah.
One thing that someone said that I wanted to address was maybe a crazy question, but they don't take losses. Are you saying never? I'm saying happening more often than not.
Yeah. they have more, their lifestyle, their life is a reflection of the fact that they have more wins than losses.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell the people who had more losses than wins because their bank account reflects it.
Yeah. And think about it, right? How many times do you want to lose money?
Never. Warren Buffett said to never lose money.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett is a billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, I never want to lose money. And if I ever, which I don't know when that happens, put myself in a position to lose money, I have the backup, which is collateral, meaning that I'm going to get something of value back so that I can either sell it, or now I'm sitting on something that's cash flowing. So again, you always want more wins than losses in life.
Yeah.
I think the last thing, we're just going to go through one more. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Is that
Is the monthly payment still necessary?
Mm-hmm. Are we talking about from a saving standpoint? Well, what do you think that means?
Well, since we're talking about paying yourself first, you should pay yourself first every time you get a check.
Yeah.
That's when you get paid on your paycheck, when the stimulus check, with somebody giving you $50 for something that you've done. Always pay yourself first. With every dollar that comes in your possession, pay yourself first. If you get $1, you should be putting 20 cents into someplace.
Yeah, every single time. Like the savings doesn't stop. Maybe we didn't address that or stress that enough. Your savings should never stop, because you always want that to be the fuel that's aiding your investment opportunities, your cash flow opportunities.
Yeah, there's savings, and then under savings there's subheadings, which is emergency fund for 2 to 3 to 6 months or 12 months, and then there's investing, and then under investing there's maybe different subheadings where something you specialize in, or something that you want to learn, or something that's already making you money.
So the $600 a month monthly payment. So I think you're talking in terms of life insurance. So B. Williams, please go to our website, wealthnation.io. We have a chat box there, and a member of our team will be able to serve you there. So hit us up on the website just for clarification there. So
monthly payments aren't, when it comes to insurance policy, is not necessary.
No.
You have an option to do monthly, semi-annual, quarterly, or annual.
Yeah.
So for us, the most convenient is annual, because we have the funds, we pay it, and then, or we deposit those funds, and then we wait to the next year when there's another opportunity to deposit money.
Again, yeah. So whatever your wallets can afford, if you're doing it monthly, annually, semi-annually, like Darius said, that's all up to you and what your banking system is all about. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this Friday morning. We hope that everyone is well and in good spirits. And remember that everything that you need to do, you need to always figure out how to keep money and never lose it.
Yeah, but the third step is to make money.
Exactly.
But you know what? When Warren Buffett says to rule number 1 is to never lose money, and rule number 2 is never forget rule number 1. It, by not losing money, you actually end up with more money, right?
Go figure.
Because losing money costs more. It costs you more than making money when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because when you lose money, you also lose your opportunity to make money on the money that you lost. So you, in theory, you kind of lose a whole lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the tools that we like to use is whole life insurance. Now let's go to the video and show you exactly what we're talking about.
Hello there, it is Carmen here, and in today's lesson, what I would like to cover is when things come up, how you use your policy for unexpected expenses. Now, this presentation is just going to be more of a high-level overview of scenarios in which you can use your policy to pay for these unexpected expenses. We're not going to go too in-depth into the numbers. The presentation is more of an opportunity to allow you to think about how you would use your policy when things do come up. So what I want you to consider today while you're watching this presentation is when things come up, we want you to take a breather and relax, because the fact is you have a policy that you can actually use to help you further your financial goals or help you when you need some cash. So let's get started. When life happens today, we're just going to pretend that your car has broken down and it's going to cost you about $3,000 to fix. And it just so happens that today you don't really have the cash on hand to be able to afford the repairs without going into debt. So what do you do in this instance? Well, luckily for you, you are covered because you just happen to have $5,000 of cash value in your policy. So you will request a loan and use the cash value from your policy to cover your car expenses rather than going into debt and using a credit card. All right, so just so we're on the same page, the loan is $3,000 that we're using to fix the car, and the repayment schedule that we agreed to pay ourselves back with is $200 for 18 months or a year and a half, and that means we're going to pay $3,600. Now, a lot of people ask us all the time, Carmen and Darius, how do you determine your repayment schedule? And the simple answer to this is how much can you consistently afford to pay yourself every single month. It's that simple. So if it's $50, $100, or maybe you can pay this all off in 1 month, good for you. But again, what can you consistently pay to make sure that you can pay yourself? We always say do not overshoot your estimations because it's going to make it so much harder for you to keep up with this. Be realistic and make sure that you stick with something consistent. All right, so let me hold up year 1 and year 2. So you'll see here, year 1, again, just referencing, we got a loan for $3,000. Our repayment schedule, we paid ourselves $200 for 12 months. The repayment schedule is 18 months, but remember, we're just talking about the first year. So after 12 months, we have $2,400 that has been paid to this $3,000 loan. Now, we all know that the interest owed on this policy is $150. So where do you think we got the $150 to pay for the interest? Well, we took it from the money that we were paying the loan back with. So really, we paid back $2,250 to the loan and $150 went to the interest. So that takes our remaining balance to $750 because the loan that we started with was $3,000 and we paid back $2,250. Now, let's talk about year 2. So year 2, we carry over a loan balance of $750. We still have 6 more months of our repayment schedule because we were paying ourselves $200 for 18 months. So what that means is we have $1,200 that has been paid through for the remainder of the repayment schedule. Now, the interest owed on $750 at 5% is $37.50. We have paid off the remaining loan. We have $1,200 minus $37.50, which gives us $1,162.50, which of course is put towards the $750, which leaves us with $412.50 that I did not put on the screen. And that $412.50 is going to go towards additional PUA. So at this point, the total that has been paid back to the policy minus the interest, because if you recall, in year 1, our interest was $150, and in year 2, our interest was $37.50. So if we add those two together, the $2,400 and the $1,200 we've paid in total, that gives us $3,412.50. So this is the actual breakdown of what the policy will look like when you carry over a loan into the next year. All right, now check out this rate of return. Now, all we did was use a simple TVM calculator, and you can go to ezcalculators.com to check this out. So all I'm doing here is putting in the present value, and the present value is $3,187.50. Where am I getting this number from? Well, the principal was $3,000, but we ended up paying $150 in the first year in interest and then $37.50 in the second year in interest. So when we add all of those together, what we paid in principal and interest was $3187.50. Our payments were $200 a month for 18 months, and that leaves us with an annual rate of 15.764%. Now, this is huge, ladies and gentlemen, because you would be paying this 15% on your credit card, but all you did was redirect the money that you were paying from a credit card, for example, to your banking system. And now this 15% is neatly tucked away inside your banking policy. And just to reiterate, we paid a total of $3,600 in our repayment schedule, but when we subtract the interest, which was $187.50, that leaves us with $34,12.50. So that extra $412.50 that we paid ourselves back, which was interest, that went again to the additional paid up additions, which is all going to now start earning that compound interest. So the beauty of banking and becoming your own banker is to keep the money moving in your own system.
Years ago, when we started with network marketing. Now, we're not affiliated with any network marketing companies. We just want to let you know where we started, because this is where we got our taste of our first passive income or residual income checks. It's where we first started getting educated on passive income and being better individuals so that we can operate within this space. This is where we first started networking with people who had similar journeys and similar goals for themselves.
Yeah, and a little bit of background to that is while we were doing network marketing, we were also still working our corporate jobs. So we were very familiar with the world of active income, meaning that we were trading our time for money. Whereas with passive income or residual income, you usually do an act maybe once or twice and you get paid over and over again. So we very quickly understood the difference and said, hey, how can we get more of that passive income so we don't have to be present on our jobs? That was really the name of the game for us. So like we said, we started with network marketing, but we realized very quickly that that wasn't going to be the avenue for us. So we continued to look for other opportunities to make more money that could help us fire our 9-to-5, so that could allow us to live the lifestyle that we know and love, because we love to travel and spend time with our family and friends. And we knew that if we were stuck in the world of active income, it wasn't going to allow us to do that as much.
Right, but what we did is we took the lessons learned and the education that we received in network marketing, and we started transitioning ourselves over into real estate investing. Now, in real estate investing, we were involved with fix and flips, wholesaling, buying wholes or rentals, and we were just financing deals for other investors. Now, this also had a learning curve that we had to overcome.
Yes.
And what this included was similar to network marketing, is we had to educate ourselves on the world of financing. Financing is huge when it comes to real estate investing, and going into it initially, we thought that, well, we're doing real estate investing, it's about buying a house, selling a house for more than what you bought it for.
Yeah.
It's more to that. Because when it comes to the financing piece, it's like a job within itself, or an understanding or undertaking within itself.
And it should be. A lot of people don't pay it any attention. They just think, oh, I made $10,000, great. But you really have to understand the returns, what you're putting into it, and does the effort involved yield $10,000? Sometimes you have to think about those type of things.
Right, because you have to pay contractors, you have to pay accountants, you have to pay attorneys, you have to pay all these people that they don't necessarily talk about on HGTV.
No, they don't. And by the way, it's not as sexy as it looks on HGTV.
Right.
Not discouraging anybody, but just keeping it real. So with the world of real estate investing is, again, we quickly realized that this wasn't going to be our avenue, because we wanted something for us, like I said, for us, this is our story, that was more passive, where there was a little bit less maintenance involved and a little bit less babysitting, I would say, because we really, again, we want to be traveling and we don't want to be worrying about contractors or the tenant did XYZ. We want low maintenance, baby. So that was the name of the game for us. Now, one thing that we did do, like Daria said, as we learned with the world of financing, is we understood a pain point in our area. And the pain point is real estate investors needed money in order to do their deals. And we knew people that had money but didn't want to invest the time and energy into real estate investing. So what we did was we became the middlemen and we financed the deals and split the profits among everyone.
And this was amazing because it allowed us to still be involved in real estate, but we weren't necessarily chasing contractors around. So this was awesome because as we were financing and getting better and better and turning more deals, we were actually introduced to the world of infinite banking.
Right, and we got to this point because we were networking and working with individuals who had money.
Yes.
So what we had was the opportunity to look at how are they financing these deals.
Yes.
And the most intriguing person that we worked with providing us with financing through his life insurance policies. So that's how we got involved with the concept of infinite banking.
And we got involved with the world of infinite banking to really finance our own deals. So we got licensed with the objective of, hey, this is going to help us with our real estate business. This is going to help us level up because now instead of sourcing funds from other people, we can source the money for ourselves and make more of the money since we don't have to split it with so many people. But what we realized very quickly, again, was that the education that we were sitting on was very beneficial to our family, to our friends, and to those around us. So we became really passionate about teaching our loved ones about the world of financing so that they can do better with their money.
Absolutely, because the way those families passed on wealth was through knowledge. And within our families, we didn't necessarily feel like we had that education around money. So it's our job to do that for our families. So we want to empower other people to do exactly the same. Now, this is where we get to the passive income on how just knowledge, you're able to monetize knowledge. That's through digital assets. Because those digital assets remain there forever. Kind of like a YouTube video. You go on YouTube and you see a video that was created 6 years ago that people are still watching. And this is the way a digital asset works because you do the work up front and you continue to receive income or residual income from that over and over again as the years go on.
And it's important for you to educate yourself with the world of digital marketing and just the World Wide Web in general. Because as we've shown you, we've tried many, many different avenues so that we could get passive income. And we have finally struck ground and got some gold in finding the avenue that was appropriate for us that would allow us to make as much passive income as we possibly can desire. So it's important for you to educate yourself on all of the passive income streams that you could potentially get involved in. Darius and I landed among the World Wide Web or digital marketing, whatever it is, and we found that this is the avenue that's going to allow us the most potential for creating passive income for ourselves. And it requires zero money down because we started our YouTube channel with just using our iPhones, and we didn't invest any money in fancy equipment or advertising or anything like that. This was all through organic traffic, meaning we didn't pay for the traffic to come to our channel. So it doesn't have to be just YouTube. It can be blogging, it can be podcasting, it can be representing someone else's products and services. There are so many things that you can do online to get in front of an audience of people that are looking for either the knowledge that you possess or the products and services that you can sell.
Yeah, and what holds a lot of people back is the fact that they think that there needs to be an upfront money investment in order to get started. Carmen just said we didn't use any money in YouTube. We also didn't use any money in real estate investing because we were working with people who had money.
Exactly.
Only thing we were doing was connecting the people with money with other investors.
Passive income is all about connections and resources. Connections and resources. So who can you connect? What dots can you connect? And what resources can you utilize to start elevating and taking things to the next level?
And learning. It's all about learning and putting yourself in a position where you can use that information to help other people. Because we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we're able to bring to the world. What I want you to do from this video is start identifying some things that maybe you're good at, some information that you have that you can maybe start sharing with people. Now, I can't tell you that it's going to be as easy as we made it seem like in this video because it wasn't.
No.
Our journey 7 years ago started off very rocky. We've made a ton of mistakes, but we also learned a ton from every single mistake that we made to get ourselves to this position where we can start financing our own lifestyle.
And we've spent a lot of money and lost a lot of money. And we got all the way to this point to realize we can start a business with no money and not have to waste any money. Oh my God. But let us tell you, do not go out there and spend a ton of money because we were taught that we need to get business loans and do all sorts of things, but you really don't. Just get educated.
Yeah, that just means you need to get business loans so you can pay somebody else interest. and then what?
Yeah.
You're stuck with it.
Exactly. And speaking of the world of interest, if you watch our channel, you know that we talk about the world of infinite banking, which is all about controlling the interest that you're paying and becoming your own source of financing. So if this is something that interests you, then definitely click on the link below to become our client so that we can help you save some interest and create that passive income for yourself and for your family.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe using the link below, and check out our previous video that we did on 4 passive income streams you can make money doing.
Yeah, since we already talked about digital marketing, this video is going to help you learn 4 tips that you can do today with 0 money down.
Own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.